Hello, gorgeous soul. Welcome to Susie's Enchanted Crossroads. I'm Susie, and this podcast helps you navigate your journey through the crossroads by taking a deeper look into witchcraft and spirituality. So settle in, grab your beverage of choice, and let's get this episode going. Hello, gorgeous souls. Let me tell you that I already knew I had a busy week coming up, but the way that next week is already Halloween, I literally can't believe it. I mean, am I the only one out there? And I guess it's also because like I said in the last recording, that it doesn't feel like Halloween here in the desert. However, we did get a cold front or a cool front, and so we're no longer in the 90s, y'all. Let's see. Our high is 88 today. It is currently 81. So yeah, wake up, put a little sweater on, and then regret it at the end of the day. But I have received so many messages on the previous episode of sleep paralysis demons. And I've gotten stories, and yes, that's happened to me. And I've learned so much on that episode that I I'm a little bit torn on what I want to do here, but I'll probably pick up and maybe do a part two of sleep paralysis demons because I want to hear more from you. I did have a listener message me and tell me that they don't necessarily see the shadow figures all the time when they get sleep paralysis, but they literally feel the energy in the room. And even when they come out of the paralysis state, they're just constantly searching in the shadows. Where is it? Where is it? As if it's almost like your sleep paralysis demon is playing hide and go seek with you. So I have gotten a story, and I've gotten a few other responses. So I might do a follow-up on sleep paralysis demons. How do you feel about that? I I enjoyed that episode because I wanted to share how how it affected me. I wanted to share what it was as far as, the scientific, what's happening to you, and then seeing it from the lens of this spiritual thing that's happening to us and how different cultures view it and see it. And although I did mention some cultures see it, I think it was, in China, they feel it's a ghost. In some Latin American households, they actually see it as the witch or the hag sitting on your chest. And there was just a bunch of different names for these sleep paralysis demons. So I think I am going to do a part two. So stay glued to your sets. Obviously, we don't listen to radio sets anymore. But yeah, make sure that you're following me on my socials, Instagram, TikTok, that you are also on my newsletter, part of my newsletter coven. It's absolutely free. I usually have a whole bunch of links on there, and I give bonuses and little tidbits for my readers out there. Let me go ahead and swing into this episode. Next week is Halloween, as well as Dia de los Muertos, and we are really coming into Samhain. We're really coming into the season. I'm sure you've noticed that the time is changing, it's getting darker earlier. I know now that when I wake up, it's a pitch black outside, so it's very, very dark when I wake up to go to work. And one of the reasons I don't like working late anymore is that I couldn't stand waking up and it was dark and then leaving work and it was dark. There had to be a change there. And so that was something I did for my mental health. As we come into our days becoming shorter and the nights become longer, this is a great time for introspection. And I was actually speaking to my mentor and coach. And there's just some things going on my end, some family drama. Who doesn't have it, right? But I was seeing a recurring theme from my end, my perspective, my opinion, and then hearing the people that are in my circle and then out in the collective. And as I was sitting talking to my mentor, Sarah, I've had her on the podcast, her and Elena. If you haven't listened to Healing the Sister Wound episode, I would definitely give that a listen. That episode is gold. And we're talking and we're discussing things and what's coming through. And I literally turned to her on Zoom and I was like, all of these situations and stories that, my followers are telling me, my listeners are writing in is greed. And I just sit with that and really view on what was coming through for me. And normally we think of greedy as in, you're greedy for money, land, that's coming a lot. That's coming up a lot for us, especially I'm sure I've stated before, but I am Hispanic and I do have deep indigenous roots. And like I said, when I was little, my family would go and we would watch, matechines and we would watch, take us to the powwows and just being immersed in my culture. As we celebrated Indigenous Peoples Day, I would get really angry with people where they're like, it's not Indigenous Peoples Day, it is Columbus Day. And insert the biggest eye roll when I feel that if you're saying something like that or you're thinking it and you're upset about it, you need to sit with why you're upset with it. You know, it's no secret that Columbus didn't discover America, that he was literally a piece of shit. And I mean, that went for a lot of white men coming and claiming land that isn't theirs to begin with, right? And claiming that the indigenous peoples were the ones that were savages. And nobody's perfect, don't get me wrong. But what I'm going with this is that greed, the greed to have money at, at no, never mind to anybody else, or stealing it from somebody else, taking somebody else's land, their property, but also people just greedy for attention and throwing people under the bus or, just stirring the pot because you're bored and you love to watch drama unfold, a lot of chaos. Some of it can be harmless, but when it's non-stop, whether you are taking something that is not yours, you're in a place where you know that it's not your place to be. The greed has been just crazy as of late. Now, we did just have a full moon, and the full moon does bring out a lot. And this full moon was in Aries. So I feel like the collective right now, we're just like, okay, what the fuck is literally going on with you? Like, we need to have a discussion. These are the boundaries I'm going to set. And this is what we're not doing anymore. This is what I am going to set for myself. And this no longer serves me. This person no longer serves me. XYZ. As we're coming closer to Halloween, All Hallows Eve, Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, if you are creating your altars right now, especially for your ancestors that have passed, or maybe it's already set up, this would be a good time to communicate with your ancestors what you need and maybe even cut some cords, cut some ties with the help and assistance from your ancestors. This is where you can actually sit with your altar if it's already done. Maybe you do it this weekend and it's, ready a few days before the actual day, Day of the Dead. And you ask your ancestors, look, I know we're all familia, but I really need your help in setting this boundary with a family member. I'm going to cut this cord, or I need them to stay away from me. They're toxic. I don't know what happened to them. and I need your help. That is a wonderful way to reach out for your ancestors. And I had seen, I saw this on TikTok and I don't know the creator. I'm just scrolling. I'm seeing all the beautiful Catrinas, all the skeletons. Oh my gosh, it's just all of the ofrendas. It's just so beautiful. So, I was scrolling, 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 and someone had said, talk to your ancestors at this time where I mean, everyone's different. Some people like this verbiage, other people don't. But the verbiage of, the veil is thinning or it's the witching hour, whatever. Use this time as a way to communicate with your ancestors is just so easy right now. It is just that veil is just easier for us to connect and ask them for the guidance. And so the post was, and I can't remember verbatim, but it's like your ancestors aren't coming over for pan muerto. They're coming over, yes, for your offerings, and they're very grateful, but they're coming over to visit with you, to catch up with you, to see how you're doing. What do you need? That is what this day of remembrance is for. It is not the Mexican Halloween. It is not a Memorial Day for Mexico. Please understand that not everything is Mexico, from Mexico. There's a lot of Latin areas that celebrate this, okay? And I won't, maybe next year around this time, I'll really get into, Day of the Dead. How did it come about? Where did it originate? But for anyone, even if you're not of, you're not Hispanic, you're not Mexican, you're not Latin, but you want to create an altar for your ancestors that have passed, it's a beautiful time to do it. And again, you don't need to buy so many things. You don't need to have your altar out in front of everybody, especially if you're in the quote unquote broom closet and you have to practice on the down low. A glass of water, light a candle, have their picture up. Those are things, very simple things that you can do. Maybe you can't have anything up like that. Think of an ancestor, or just call in your ancestors for your highest good, your highest vibration, the ancestor that will, um, have your back, give you that spine, like, come on, we can do this. And you're like, you know what? Yeah, fuck yeah, let's go do this. That kind of energy. And think of them, grab a glass of water and tell them this water that I'm drinking is for you, my ancestors. And then you drink the water. You're saying that to yourself. Who's going to know? Nobody's going to know. We just see it as, oh, look, little Susie's having a glass of water. Good for her. But you are creating that altar within yourself. And oddly enough, I do have a program coming up called the Altar Within. So I talk you and I meditate and I guide you into how to keep your altar within, how to create it and all of that good stuff. But that's for later. So where were we? Really digging our heels into spending time with past loved ones. This is a time where you can go back to previous episodes where I walk you through how to protect yourself, how to ground yourself, and maybe dipping your toes into divination, dipping your toes into automatic writing, and connecting with spirits. If you've been on the fence about, working with the deity, now's a great time. You're trying to connect with your guides and your ancestors. Obviously, this is the perfect time. And it really doesn't take a lot. You can take a mindful meditation, have an intention in mind, something that you're struggling or needing a specific answer. Tell your guides, hey, if this is a yes, me changing jobs, if this is a yes, on this jog or on this walk or sometime between when I arrive at work at 9 a.m. and I go home and I get home at 6 p.m., I would have seen a purple zebra. Obviously not in real life, or maybe, I don't know. But at some point along the way, purple zebra will come up. Maybe it's a sticker. Lisa Frank? Anybody? Maybe you see someone with a purple sweatshirt and then you look down at your phone and the next video on TikTok is zebras. I don't know. Something where you need a definitive. That's connecting with spirit. Like I said, we look at Witch Talk and Instagram and, Pinterest and everything around us, and everything is so aesthetically pleasing. And not to say that I don't enjoy watching those as well. But let's be honest here. I have a mundane job. You listeners probably have a mundane job. You got a lot going on. So sometimes we just don't have a lot of time for the big, elaborate rituals. Sometimes less really is more. I'm sure many of you have seen The Book of Life or Coco. And even though some of those, the history's a little not there, but or accurate or correct, it's beautiful to see that movies are being put out about this. We are seeing more about Dia de los Muertos. What happens? Why do we have ofrendas? Why is it important to us as a people or a culture? Coming up also is on Halloween. I believe it's on Halloween. We have the dark moon. And the dark moon, or I mean, it's after the waning crescent of the phase of the moon, is a time for contemplation and connecting with your spirit, connecting with your mind, connecting with that intuition, really checking in with your body. And what a day to do that than Halloween. So we will have the dark moon for Halloween. And to me, it's just that's amazing. I feel how like it is so fitting. I feel that if we're really going to dig deep on connecting with spirit, what a day on Halloween. And so November 1st, which is Day of the Dead, All Souls Day, that is the new moon phase. But as we're talking about the new moon, that is a time associated with your intention setting. Marks the start of that new cycle. And as we're connecting with our ancestors and our guides on that day, it is also a time of a new spiritual beginning. And really taking what is around us, who we have around us, who's important. I really want you to really settle in on this new moon in Scorpio. Okay, first of all, Scorpio. Scorpio moons, which is my moon, is very deep. We really come into that feeling of deep diving into our emotions as possible. Yeah. A desire of meaningful emotional exchanges, especially now that we have this. And you may have to surround yourself or begin to surround yourself with like-minded people that really want to see you grow, that really want to see you blossom and support you. And if you need a community like that, obviously you're listening to this podcast, you know that I'm here for you. You can message me, I'll answer. Email me, I'll answer. You have questions, you fill out the jot form, the Google form, I got you. I'm here to listen. I'm here to guide you as best as I can. And if I don't know the answer, I'll find it. Or I'll have a special guest to share their expertise. But as I share this with you and you're searching for more, you're ready to dip your toes in, even if you are an experienced practitioner and you're like, you know what, I could really use, some community, maybe some new friends, extending my reach. If you are wishing to call back your power, learn something new, next month, come up November, Sarah, Elena, and myself are actually hosting a 3-day workshops called Venusian Mysteries. And the reason I get so excited about programs that I drop or even that other people are doing is that it's literally made for you, gorgeous soul. And the fact that Elena, Sarah, and myself have come together to create this just for the mere fact that we want to expand our reach, we want to meet new people, and we want to help guide you. That is what's important to us right now. So I invite you. I'm going to leave the link in the show notes. It's an Eventbrite. It's a 3-day workshop. And each day there will be there will be 3 sessions. So either you'll have 3 sessions or a workshop. And each session is less or about $9 each session. And if you can't make it, because we are all busy, it is online, you will have access to it for the rest of your life. And there's nowhere else that I can even think that even like they even offer that at all. There's just nobody does it because we're not in it just to like see how much we can do, how many people we can get. That's not where we place our importance. Our importance is to get you at least thinking about it and then get you through that virtual door, to get you to come out of your shell just a little bit. So that way you can really surround yourself with people like, like attracts like. I'm into the moon cycles, you're into the moon cycles. You're ready to step out of, your imposter syndrome and banish that crap or you're ready to step into your powers. So am I. I've been there and we share stories and it's a beautiful way for us to come together. So if that is something that you're into, we do have an Eventbrite. It's on Venusian Mysteries. You can grab your seat with the link below in the show notes. And yeah, come join us for this 3-day workshop where we dive into deep wisdom of feminine embodiment and sisterhood. So if you don't know who Sarah and Elena are, like I said, they joined me on an episode of the podcast, Healing the Sister Wound, because that is something we've all had to experience at some point in our lives. I do invite you to find that episode and listen to it and then get a feel for us. We're a fun group. Like we're easygoing. It's not going to be some stuffy, 3-day event. No. This is like freaking fun and games. And did I mention that we're going to be doing giveaways and freebies? Oh yeah. And you, by signing up, automatically get some type of gift, but we're going to keep that to ourselves until we get our signups. So, enjoying all of this immersion and Halloween and Day of the Dead fun. I do want to reach out to my community. I do want to hear from you. What lights your fire? What questions do you have? Especially as we begin getting closer and closer to Halloween, which is crazy. I cannot believe because right now I'm recording it's the 22nd. As you listen to it, it's 23rd. I literally can't believe that next week is already Halloween. So I do have scary stories. I think I'll do that as a bonus. Maybe I'll do, I don't know. I haven't done a bonus yet, so maybe I'll call it, I don't know, spiritual tea, and we spill the tea on whatever's happening. I don't know. I'll workshop it, but I do have some spooky stories that you all submitted, and I'll probably drop that next week, Monday, because on Wednesday, as the episode drops, the day before Halloween, I have a special guest. We already recorded. I'm already like so giddy for this this episode. Like, you're not going to want to miss it. And I want to hear from you, your thoughts as soon as it drops. So, this is going to be next week. Just a reminder that every first and third Wednesday of every month, I host a community Reiki meditation. And this is done via Zoom. So if you're curious about Reiki, you've had Reiki sessions before, this may be your first time, I invite you to come and release stress, release the worry. Let's get rid of that nagging anxiety and come on in. The first Wednesday is restorative Reiki. I guide you into a meditation and send you Reiki to clear out negative, stagnant energy, whatever the collective might be needing at that time. And that's it. There's no share out. If you want to communicate or chit chat about anything that came through or messages, or you have questions, you are more than free to send me an email or message me. And then every third Wednesday, that is elevate your practice. So whether you are a spiritual healer, you're a diviner, like you read tarot, oracle, anything like that, and you feel comfortable with the witchy aspect of what I do, every third Wednesday, I help you elevate your practice doing the same cleansing, clearing, grounding, but I do gather the intention of the collective. I pull tarot cards and I do some candle magic as well. So that one is a little bit more in depth, a little bit more woo-woo, if you please. And all of that can be found in the show notes, all those links. All right, gorgeous soul. That's it for me. I would love to hear from you. Like I said, any questions or ideas for topics can be found in the show notes as well. And until next time, I will see you at the crossroads.